My name is Francis Yasharian. I'm from Philadelphia. I'm the head of lower school at Springside Chestnut Hill Academy. I work pre-K through 5 in an all-boys setting. And I want to talk today about sharing our learning, demonstrating what we know, and making school fun. And I have to say, much of what I'm about to say today, the credit goes to my teachers. It's not me. It's a hard work that the wonderful teachers that SCH Academy has. So let's get started talking about elementary school. I want you to all think about your favorite memory from elementary school, from your childhood education. You got it in your head? I'm sure some of you said phonics drills, your first letter grade, and maybe your experiences with multiple choice testing, right? Probably not. My guess is you were thinking about overcoming challenges, that special teacher, a good friend, playing, a family event, a performance, a guest speaker, something like that. We know how to make school special. We know how to make kids want to come to school. We know how to get kids to love how to learn. Unfortunately, at school, we don't do it enough. Before coming to SCH, my first principal job, I took over a failing school with really bad attendance. You know when we had good attendance? School picture day. Finally, a compelling reason to come to school. I reject the idea that school has to be mundane and monotonous, and that school can be a place that's magical for kids. I think that's really important. I'm lucky that at SCH we get to strive to do that each and every day. And we have no grades in lower school. We also have project-based learning and design thinking mentioned in our mission statement. And one of the principles that we hold near and dear to our hearts is that learning is shared. We know that learning is a social experience. We've been talking about that and hearing about that all day today. So how do we share our learning in an elementary context, both with adults and with children? Well, in our faculty meetings, we have a structure called strategy share. At the start of every faculty meeting, a teacher stands up and she shares a strategy, something new that she's trying in her classroom. She lets us know what it is, how it's going, what it's teaching her about her students and herself. And she lets us know where she's going to take her practice next. Sometimes there are successes, sometimes there are flops, but we're sharing in a communal atmosphere. We don't use our faculty meetings for a litany of to-dos. We use a website for that. We use Haiku to build a pretty easy internal website. I put all of our to-do lists on there, links to Google Docs where we collaborate. We also have inspirational videos, pictures, everything you can name that I think our teachers might need goes in that Haiku. We even have links to our teachers' weekly blogs, so that way everyone can have yet another glimpse into each grade level at our school. Enough about the adults, though. I know you want to hear about how do we share our learning with children, with our 5-year-olds, our 6-year-olds, and our elementary school students. Well, first thing I say is we need to invite creativity into our projects. Why do we have to be the ones to decide what the project is going to be? Why can't we just turn it over to the kids? You can do that in elementary school without a problem. Sure, you're going to have to guide the decision guide the decision process in the beginning. But as they grow more mature and more comfortable with creative freedom, you'll see the variety and quality of projects take off. I would also suggest that in the beginning, your first open-ended project be done as a group as opposed to individually. Here's a picture. Our first graders studied the fragility of the coral reef. So they decided to turn our entire hallway into a coral reef. And to show and share their learning, the students gave tours to other classes of the coral reef. Here's also a game here that some kids did to show what they learned in response to literature. They're not technology-driven, but guess what? As we've heard today, I can't tell you the number of glorified worksheets I've seen on the iPad. Just because you don't have technology doesn't mean that it can't be progressive. I also say engage an audience. Our boys write each and every day on topics that interest them, that they self-generate. And when they're ready to take a piece to publication, we invite all of the parents in to hear their son's writing. We also have a weekly assembly where classes share what they're learning every Thursday morning. And this year we launched a Demonstrations of Learning week. And for an entire week, all day, every day, we invited parents, community members, school partners, our board in to share the learning of our students, of our youngest children. And because it was a whole week, they got to see introductions to units, they got to see experience culminating activities. They also had the opportunity to confer one-on-one with students around their writing, around their ideas. No matter what people were participating in, students were explaining their learning, describing the connections they were making, and demonstrating their new skills. We also think if it's really cool to talk to your parents and people you know, it's even better to talk to experts, people who really know what they're talking about. So, to give you an idea of how we do this, our fourth graders always study, they have a culture and identity is their major theme throughout the year. And part of their studies, they focus on Native American cultures, past and present. This year, they were charged to design a museum exhibit to share what they learned. After they designed the exhibit, they then had to pitch the proposal for the exhibit to actual area curators and museum directors in the Philadelphia area. Talk about getting an opportunity to practice those social skills and formal communication. That's exactly what our students were doing. And I know that our first speaker this morning talked about our students, our children, not having enough opportunity to use more formal social skills. We also, it's not just about telling and talking to experts, it's also about asking questions. You can share and demonstrate your learning through the questions you ask. If you know your material, I think somebody said earlier today, better answers lead you to better questions. Donna Jo Napoli, the author of North, one of our favorite books, spends a lot of time in the Philadelphia area, so we brought her in. When we studied fortitude in the polar caps, we Skyped with 3 divers stationed at McMurdoch Station in Antarctica. And lastly, we need to amplify what we're doing through technology. So most of the examples I talked about really they're dependent on face-to-face connections. But you can also do that and you can reach a broader audience when you use technology to do so. Some of you may follow Kim Civic. She is on our faculty, and she leads her students in creating a global cultural studies blog each year, complete with their own international blogger cards, and she even takes them to present at conferences with her. Recently, our kindergartners read the story, The Frog Prince Continued, and then they went through the design thinking process to create frog-friendly accommodations for their amphibian friend. And while they were doing that, they captured their thinking at each stage of the design thinking process onto voice threads, which were then linked to QR codes and used for a demonstration display. At the same time, friends of ours, another school in Dubai, was doing the exact same thing. At the conclusion of the project, the students in both countries were able to compare and contrast the prototypes for the Frog Prince's house, as well as talk about the different advantages of each of the prototypes for the Frog Prince. I don't need to talk to this audience about the numerous ways in which you can publish online and share your thoughts. We have classes that tweet. When we go out on a field trip, a child is the tweeter of the day, so that way the parents at home and others can keep abreast of what's going on in the classroom. And Lastly, sort of the easiest way that we share sort of the death of the book report, rather than create the 3-paragraph, this is what I like, this is what I recommended, this was the plot, the story, our students are creating interactive wikis on the literature that they read. We think doing these things will prepare our students to be leaders of tomorrow. We really do. We're hammering home the important C skills of the 21st century: collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking, and cultural competence. But as I say at every open house, while we keep our eye on the future, in elementary school, we also think today is important, and we need to make sure, it's our moral imperative as elementary educators, is to make sure that our students' days are filled with the stuff of lasting memories. Thank you.